In the last video, we have seen a number of properties of the real world social networks, most of which were local to the networks, such as transitivity, which was at the level of whether a triad is closed or not, and some were degree distributions, which took the entire network into picture, including all the nodes. Now there are certain more properties of social networks which are very interesting and have been explored in detail, such as community structure. When you see any social network, people tend to cluster themselves into various communities. Let's take the example of a college. So definitely it will obey the properties, like triads will be closed, there will be one popular person. But in addition, you will see this property of community structure, where if you look at different departments in the institute, the people in the same department will be having more links among them, will be having more relationships with each other as compared to these people from some other departments. So this property is known as community structure, and definitely to create a synthetic network which looks exactly like the real world network, you will also need to replicate this property. So till now there are network models which are well accepted for your degree distribution, but when it comes to generating a network which has all these properties like transitivity, low path length, community structure, degree distribution, requires some research and requires people to come up with more new algorithms, some of which we will try to code in few of the subsequent lectures. As an example, one can try to create a network which has both power law, a scale free degree distribution, as well as a community structure, and there has been a decent amount of research in that direction. Anyways, this particular video is concerned with community structure, and more than looking at how can we generate a network which has a community structure, what can be more interesting is to look at some of the real world networks and to see how we can detect communities in these networks. So it is an example of a real world network from a project I was doing. So this is a real world social network of the students of a particular batch of an institute in Bangalore. And when we applied community detection algorithm to this, so it looks something like this. This particular figure I have coded it in igraph in R, but in this particular tutorial we'll be looking at how can we do community detection with igraph in Python. So this entire concept of community structure and how you detect it is based on a measurement which is called modularity, and it's a theoretical concept. I am not going into much details of modularity, I'll just give you a small idea here. So modularity is a term which measures the degree to which these intra-community connections are more as compared to inter-community connections. So whenever you have a community detection algorithm, so it tells you that these are the communities in this network. Now how do you know how good this community detection algorithm has performed? So modularity is a measure which is used to test how good a community detection algorithm is. The modularity, what it tries to see is, so if you have a good community structure, or if the community detection is good, then you should have more links within communities, that is intra community links should be more and inter community links should be lesser in number. And modularity is a measure which tells you how good the degree of this entire thing is, whether your intra community links are more or not. So it's not just about more, it's a overall fraction which tells you about this entire thing. There are a lot of videos on YouTube where you can look up for the exact theoretical definition of this measure, but my objective in in this particular video is to show you how you can detect communities. Like I said, you for this community detection, we'll be using this new library which is iGraph. So we are not working with NetworkX. NetworkX is a bit slower for community detection. Moreover, it doesn't have a lot of community detection algorithms implemented. So in literature, there are a large number of community detection algorithms. iGraph has implemented a lot of them. I'll also give you a brief introduction to how you can load a graph in iGraph, how you can do different things with it, and our main objective here will be to look at the modularity. iGraph is quite similar to NetworkX, just the syntax of functions might differ a bit. So let's work with the Facebook graph itself, for which we have seen the edge list before. So my first work is to create a graph from that edge list. And please note that now I am working with iGraph. So we have a function in iGraph again, which can read an edge list from your system. So I have this function read edge list, and you can pass your corresponding file name here. In my case, the file name was facebook underscore combine dot txt. And see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a print f here. Let's see what it's going to do. So I have just read this edge list in a graph f. After that, I'm just printing this graph f. I'm going to execute this now. So it takes some time to read this entire edge list. So if you look at here, it has loaded the graph, and when you print the value of f, what it is showing you here is, so it shows us the entire adjacency list representation of this graph. So first of all, it shows us that it's a directed graph. Actually, I didn't intend to make it a directed graph, since in Facebook this friendship relationship is symmetrical. I should make it undirected. We'll see how to do that. This is the number of nodes, this is the number of edges. After that, it has listed all the node numbers for you, and thereafter it has shown you all the edges. So perfect till here. So since I do not want it to be a directed graph, I think I have a attribute here directed, which I can set to false. Let me see if it works. So if we now go up, okay, I am unable to see it completely. What I'm going to do is, for now I am going to remove this printf. Okay. Better, even what I can do is, I need to see its value. Uh, Let me just write down it in a file. Okay, so I have just taken this output in a file. I'm going to open this file here, and as you can see now, this graph has become undirected. Okay, so here we have our graph is loaded. Now what we want to do is we want to apply a community detection algorithm on this graph. So I'll just show you here certain things. These are some of the algorithms, community detection algorithms, which are in the literature. One can try to implement them here. Now, I'm not going into the details of how these community detection algorithms work, because there are a lot of them. uh, there are different kind of community detection algorithms. Some are divisive, some are agglomerative. So the divisive algorithms, they work top down. So they look at your graph from the top, then they try to break it in some two communities. So as an example, this algorithm here, community underscore edge betweenness, so it tries to break those edges in the network which will create two connected components from your network. So let's say I have, if you remember a barbell graph where I have, let's say, two complete networks which are connected by just one edge. So what this algorithm will try to do, it will try to break that connecting edge so that your graph is now your graph is now two different subgraphs which are not connected. So such kind of an algorithm is a divisive one. It works in a top down approach. We also have agglomerative algorithms which will start building your network from a node. So I'll start from one particular node, then I'll look at its connections, dense connections, and try to build the graph from there and figure out the communities. Moreover, there are algorithms which work on the basis of building a dendrogram, others do not. So, without going into all the technicalities, we'll just try to implement these algorithms here. So, you can see that this first algorithm is edge betweenness. As of now, I'm going to leave this algorithm because it takes a lot of time. So, I'm going to take ones which will implement fast and we can see their results quickly. So, let's look at this one. Uh, yeah, so this algorithm is based on a greedy optimization of modularity. As you can see here, it's a bottom-up algorithm. So basically, it's an agglomerative one. You can read more about it in by going to this paper here. Okay. You can see what this algorithm is returning. So this particular algorithm is not returning us any uh, dendrogram. I'm just going to implement this algorithm. So this function here is community underscore fast greedy. So I have this graph here. Mm, okay, if I look at this particular algorithm, it actually I think returns me a dendrogram because it returns me a list of merges and the modularity scores before each merge. So let's just execute and see what it returns. So if you want to see whether it's a dendrogram return or whether these are directly the uh, community structure return, we can do it. So whatever is the result of this algorithm, I'm going to collect it in a variable called v. So f is my graph name and I'm going to implement this algorithm which is community underscore fast greedy. Yes, and after that I'm just going to see what is this value of v. So if it's going to be a dendrogram, mm, okay, it will show me, yeah, so it shows me that it's a dendrogram which is having 4039 elements, right? So when it returns me a dendrogram, I need to have a second step so that I can have my clusters out of that dendrogram. So I'm just going to write that code here. So whatever is the name of my dendrogram, and I'm going to use the function here as clustering so that I get my clusters. And let's see what I get when we print the value of those clusters. And just again go and execute it. You see, so it shows that first a dendrogram was created, then based on that dendrogram my algorithm, it shows me that there are 13 clusters. So I've done clustering with 4039 elements and there are 13 clusters, and it has also shown me the nodes which are there in each cluster. So there are 0 to 12, 13 clusters, plus every cluster has its node. Okay. One thing which is important is I want to know what is the modularity as we discussed. So this algorithm has given me some clusters, but how good those clusters are, if you want to see the value of those clusters, so I just need to have here so this clusters is an object here. I want to see the modularity. So let me just look at what's the modularity. So it shows me a modularity of zero point 0.7, which is a decent one. So if you look at several research papers, you can conclude that a modularity below zero point 0.4 is quite an insignificant one, and the maximum value of modularity for an undirected unweighted graph can be 1, and in this case my modularity is quite close to that in case I use this fast greedy algorithm. Okay, so I have seen that it has given me a good modularity. Another thing I would want is I would want to see visualize these communities in my graph, where I would want to see the nodes in the same community with the same color. So for that, I'm going to create a color palette in iGraph, and this color palette should have how many colors? The number of colors should be equal to the number of my clusters. So I'm going to use here a function which is related to the color palette. It's a function from iGraph. You can look at more details of this function by going to the documentation of iGraph. And here in the arguments I'm going to pass how many colors I want in my palette. So the colors I want should be equal to the length of clusters, which was nothing but 13, as we have seen. After that, what we want to do is we want to assign a color to each of the vertex in this graph. How are we going to do that? So before that, I'm also going to show you one thing. So definitely we have printed the value of clusters here, looked at the nodes which are there in each cluster. We can also go here and print clusters dot membership. So this clusters.membership actually is a list which shows us the membership for each of the nodes in the network. So there are 4039 nodes in this network, and in this list you can see the membership of each of these nodes here. So all these nodes have a membership of 0, then these nodes have a membership of 1, this node has a membership of 0, so on and so forth. So we are going to use this particular membership here in assigning colors to these vertices. So I'm going to, so the name of my graph is F. VS here is for vertex set. I want to set an attribute with this vertex set, and that attribute is color. And from where this attribute or color should get value, it should come from this membership array, right? So I'm going to use this function here, and I'm going to pass this clusters dot membership here. So what it will do is, based on the membership of each of the vertex, it will assign a color to each of the vertex. So I'm just going to remove it here. So a color is assigned here to each vertex. After that, you can simply go and have a look at your graph. So I'm just going to plot it. If you want, you can remove all the extra lines from your code, and it shows me an error. Let me see what it is. So it says cannot assign to function call. Okay, till here everything is all right. Let me just try it once again. Show me an error. Okay, let me figure out what this error is. Okay, so I made a stupid mistake here. So this should be square braces over here, not these braces which are used for a function. So I have assigned it a color, and then we are going to plot it. Okay, it will take some time. Meanwhile, let's have a look at some other functions. So this one here is community underscore info map. This comes from another research paper. And if you look at what it returns, so instead of a dendrogram, it directly returns me the calculated membership vector. So whenever you are using any of the community detection algorithm from here, you should look at whether it's returning you a dendrogram or a direct membership. Okay, so this one over here shows you your Facebook graph with different communities and all the vertices with different colors. Okay, so if you remember, in this particular case, when we use this fast greedy, our modularity score was zero point 0.7, Let us try to do it once with this algorithm, which is community underscore infomap, and then after that you can at your respective places try implementing different algorithms and compare their modularity scores. Community underscore infomap is directly returning me the membership, so I do not need to use this as clustering there. So what I can do instead is, if I'm using that particular algorithm, I can directly do community underscore info map, right? And it's going to give me all the clusters. And what I'm interested in is looking at the modularity scores. So let me just okay. Let's execute it. Yeah, so it gives me a modularity score of zero point 0.8, which is better than the previous algorithm, and it's not returning me a dendrogram directly community membership. So you need to take care of that while implementing these algorithms, and in a while it will show you the visualized graph. If you want to read all these community detection algorithms in detail, I would suggest you to read the survey paper by Santo Fortunato. You'll find in a lot more of details there. Okay, that's much about the community detection algorithms, and from the next video, we'll be taking a small shift. So, till now, we were working from the angle of a network and looking at the properties of a network. We were not concerned about the individual nodes. From the next video, we will try to see if we can compare various nodes in the network and see which node is better or which node is more important than the other one, which are also known as centrality measures.